Ever found yourself driving home, pulling into the driveway, and you have, like, almost no memory of the actual journey?
Oh, definitely. Or, you grab your phone just to check the time,
Yeah.
and suddenly 10 minutes have vanished down some social media rabbit hole. You don't even remember why you picked it up.
Exactly. That right there, that's your brain running on autopilot.
Yeah.
And it happens, well, way more than you probably think. In fact, there's this research from Duke University. It suggests over 40%, 40, of the things we do every single day aren't actually conscious choices. They're habits.
That 40% number, it really is something, isn't it? What always gets me is how we beat ourselves up about it, thinking it's, lack of discipline.
Not like it's a failing.
Yeah, when really it's just our brains being incredibly efficient. It kind
Yeah.
of makes you wonder how much of our day we're truly present for.
It really does.
Yeah.
It's a bit close to home sometimes, I have to admit. Precisely. So today, we are diving deep into this kind of invisible architecture that's running so much of our lives. Our mission here is to, well, demystify this autopilot mode. We want to understand that simple but really elegant three-step process in our brains, the thing called the habit loop.
Right.
And the goal is that by the end of this, you won't just get why bad habits stick like glue and good ones feel so impossible sometimes.
Yeah.
You'll actually have the blueprint. You'll know how to become the architect of your own behavior. Basically, how to hack your brain for the better.
It's about understanding the system, definitely, not just trying to fight it with, sheer willpower. That's where the real power lies, I think.
Okay, so where did this understanding even come from? How did we start figuring this stuff out?
Well, it wasn't just theory.
Right.
Our modern grasp of habits, it really came out of neuroscience labs. Think like sterile environments, controlled experiments. Back in the 1990s, specifically researchers at MIT.
Okay, MIT.
Yeah, they were super curious about where habits actually lived in the brain. So they designed this really neat experiment. They put rats in a T-shaped maze. Chocolate, one end, obviously.
Always chocolate.
Always chocolate. Then a loud click would sound, a gate would open, and the rat could go find the treat.
Simple enough. So what did they find?
Well, this is the fascinating part. As the rats did it over and over again, initially, their brains were firing like crazy, right? Processing everything.
Figuring it out.
Exactly. But with repetition, their brain activity actually decreased significantly. It was like the brain just went, okay, got this routine down, no need to think so hard.
So they were running it automatically.
Precisely. They weren't deliberating anymore. They just ran the maze. It showed the brain had bundled up that whole sequence into like an efficient chunk of behavior.
Wow.
And the scientists traced this automation to a really deep kind of primitive part of the brain. It's called the basal ganglia.
The basal ganglia.
Yeah, you can think of it as the ancient engine room for all our automatic stuff.
So the brain literally found a shortcut. It offloaded the work. But does that efficiency mean it's always good? Or is that maybe why bad habits are so tough to shake?
That's a great question. Because the brain's goal isn't good or bad. Its goal is efficiency.
Just saving energy.
Exactly. Once it finds a path that works, gets a reward,
Yeah.
it wants to automate it. So this amazing research, plus hundreds of other studies, they were mostly stuck in academic journals,
Right. Typical.
Until the journalist Charles Duhigg came along. He pulled it all together in his book, The Power of Habit, back in 2012. That really brought it mainstream.
That book was huge.
It was, and he's the one who gave us the language we mostly use now. The cue, routine, reward loop.
Cue, routine, reward. Okay.
And then, more recently, James Clear with Atomic Habits, he's built on that foundation, giving us even more practical ways to actually use this loop.
Okay, so let's unpack that loop then. The cue, routine, reward.
Yeah.
This is the core mechanism, right? The thing that turns complicated actions into stuff we do without thinking.
Mm-hmm. You can think of it like a path in a forest.
Okay.
The first time you walk through, you're pushing branches aside, watching every step. It takes effort.
Cool.
But the 100th time, the path is clear, it's worn down, you can just stroll along without really paying attention. Your brain has created that shortcut.
It's literally carving out neural pathways, isn't it? Making it easier each time.
That's exactly right. And this shortcut, this loop, has 3 distinct parts. First up is the cue.
The cue.
This is the trigger, the starter pistol, you could say. It tells your brain, okay, go into automatic mode now and use this specific habit.
And these cues, they can be different things, right? Not just one type.
Oh, yeah. They generally fall into 5 main categories, and you'll probably recognize these from your own life. First, location, like Just walking into the kitchen might trigger wanting a snack.
Guilty.
Or that 3 p.m. energy slump, maybe.
Yeah.
That's a classic cue.
Yep.
Then there's your emotional state, feeling stressed, bored, anxious. Those are powerful cues for certain habits. Also, other people. Seeing that friend you always used to smoke with.
Yeah. That makes sense.
And finally, an immediately preceding action. Like finishing dinner might be the cue to automatically reach for dessert or turn on the TV.
Okay, so the cue basically flags the brain. Time for this program.
Pretty much. Then comes the routine.
Right, the habit itself.
Yeah, this is the behavior, the thing you actually do. It could be physical, like grabbing that cookie or biting your nails. Or it could be mental, like a thought pattern, or emotional, like immediately feeling anxious in a certain situation.
So it could be grabbing the cookie, lighting the cigarette, checking email compulsively.
Exactly. And routines can be super complex, remember the driving example, or really simple, just a tiny action.
Got it. Cue triggers the routine. What's the last piece?
The reward. And this is crucial. This is the payoff. It's not just about feeling good right now, although that's often part of it.
Okay.
The reward is what tells your brain, hey, that loop we just ran, it worked. Do it again next time. It satisfies some kind of craving.
It reinforces the pattern.
Totally. It releases feel-good chemicals, like dopamine. That's the neurological glue that holds the whole loop together. It's the reason the habit sticks.
So let's use an example. Mid-afternoon slump. That's the cue.
Yep. Feeling tired, maybe a bit foggy.
Leads to walking to the vending machine for that sugary snack. That's the routine.
The action.
Which gives you that quick burst of energy, maybe a little pleasure.
That good.
That's the reward.
Exactly. And your brain goes, slump solution found. Next time you feel that slump.
Straight to the vending machine. The loop is locked in. Wow. It's almost like unsettling how fast the brain wires that up.
It really is. But you have to remember, our brain is an absolute marvel of efficiency. That conscious part, the prefrontal cortex, the part that makes decisions and thinks deeply.
Yeah.
It's powerful, but it burns a ton of energy. Imagine if you had to consciously think through every single little thing you do.
Oh, man.
How to brush your teeth, which way to turn the steering wheel, how to type this word. You'd be completely wiped out by, 9 a.m.
Okay, that makes sense. So, connecting the dots here. Habits are actually the brain's way of saving energy.
Precisely. It's a brilliant strategy by bundling these common sequences of actions into automatic routines.
And storing them in that basal ganglia place.
Right. It frees up your conscious brain, your mental bandwidth to deal with new stuff, unexpected problems, creative thoughts. It's like an optimization program running constantly in the background.
So habits aren't a weakness then. They're not a bug in the system.
Not at all. They're a feature, a fundamental feature of how we operate. The tricky part is the system itself is neutral. It doesn't care if it's a good habit, like, say, putting on your running shoes when you get home.
Or a bad one.
Or a quote-unquote bad one, like pouring a huge glass of wine the minute you walk in. The neurological process is exactly the same.
And that's why we feel stuck sometimes. Yeah. We're not fighting just like a craving.
No, you're fighting a deeply embedded, highly efficient, energy-saving pathway in your brain. It's a powerful force.
Okay, that's a really important distinction. It's not about being weak-willed. It's biology. It's neurology.
Right. But, and this is the really good news, you can reroute that pathway. You're not doomed to repeat it forever.
Which brings us to the hacking part, right?
Yeah.
Or do we actually change these things?
Exactly. Charles Duhigg talks about this. He calls it the golden rule of habit change.
The golden rule. Okay.
And it's surprisingly simple, in theory at least. You can't easily just extinguish a bad habit. Just stopping doesn't work well.
Right.
But you can change it. And the secret, the golden rule, is this. Keep the cue the same, keep the reward the same, but consciously insert a new routine.
So you're hijacking the existing loop.
You got it. It's about substitution, not trying to just erase something. Your brain still gets the reward it's craving, just through a different, hopefully better behavior.
Okay, that sounds promising. How do we actually do that? Is there a process?
There is. We can break it down into a kind of 4-step framework. Ready?
Let's do it.
Step 1. Identify the routine. This is usually the most obvious part. What's the specific behavior you want to change? Don't be vague, like, I want to be healthier.
Be specific.
Yeah, get granular. I eat a whole bag of chips on the couch every night around 9 p.m., something concrete like that.
Okay, got my routine. Nightly chip demolition. What's next?
Step 2. Experiment with rewards. Now, this is where the detective work really begins.
Yeah.
Because the reward you think you're getting from the chips
Might not be the real reward the brain wants.
Exactly. Is it really the salty, crunchy taste? Or is the routine actually about unwinding after a long day? Is it maybe just curing boredom or distracting yourself from something stressful?
Okay, so how do you figure that out?
You experiment. For a few nights, when that 9 p.m. ship cue hits, try doing something different that might deliver a different kind of reward.
Like what?
Okay, night 1. Instead of chips, try eating an apple. See if that satisfies the urge. Is the craving actually just for food, for something to consume?
Okay, apple test.
Night 2. Try something completely different. Maybe 10 minutes of light stretching or some deep breathing. Is the craving actually for relaxation, for de-stressing?
Right, testing the relaxation angle.
Night 3. Maybe call a friend for a quick chat or pick up a book for 15 minutes. Is the craving really about needing distraction or some kind of engagement?
Interesting. So you tried different potential rewards.
And you pay close attention. After you do the replacement activity, does the urge for chips go away? Or is it still nagging at you? That helps you zero in on what your brain is really after.
That feels like a critical step, really understanding the underlying need. How important is getting that right?
Oh, it's absolutely vital. It's often the missing piece. People try to change the routine without understanding the reward they're truly seeking. It requires, a bit of self-awareness, maybe keeping notes.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Okay, so I've identified the routine, I've experimented and figured out the real reward. Let's say it's relaxation, not the chips themselves. What's step 3?
Step 3. Isolate the cue. Now we hunt for the trigger. When that urge for chips hits or whatever the old routine was, you need to take a mental snapshot right in that moment.
Snapshot. How?
Ask yourself those 5 key questions about cues we mentioned earlier. 1, where are you? Okay, I'm on the couch, living room. 2, what time is it? Around 9 p.m., maybe a bit later.
Good.
3, what's your emotional state? Feeling kind of tired, maybe a little bored, maybe stressed from work. 4, who else is around? Usually alone. 5, what action just happened right before the urge hit? The TV show I was watching just went to a commercial break.
Got it. So you record those details each time the urge pops up.
Yeah, and after doing that for a few days, maybe a week, a pattern will almost certainly emerge. You'll likely find the cue isn't just 9 p.m. It's something much more specific, like you said. Feeling bored during a commercial break while I'm alone on the couch. That's your precise trigger.
Okay, that's powerful. Knowing the exact cue. So now I have this specific cue. I know the real reward I'm craving, and I know the routine I want to change. What's the final step?
Step 4, have a plan. This is where you consciously design the new loop. Create a simple plan using an if-then structure.
If-then. Like programming.
Kind of. It makes it really concrete. So using our chips example, the plan might be, if I am on the couch during a commercial break and I start feeling bored, that's the CUE, then I will immediately get up and do 5 minutes of light stretching. That's the new routine. In order to get the feeling of relaxation and mental distraction that I'm actually craving. That's the reward.
If cue, then new routine to get the reward.
Exactly. And actually writing it down or saying it out loud makes it much more real and actionable.
I guess at first, doing the stretching instead of grabbing the chips, that takes effort, right? It's not automatic yet.
Oh, absolutely. It requires conscious thought and effort initially. You're forging a new path in that forest. But every single time you successfully follow your plan, you feel the cue, you do the new routine, you get the reward, you are strengthening that new neural pathway.
Making the new path clearer.
Precisely. And eventually, with enough consistency, that new routine, the stretching, will become just as automatic, just as energy efficient for the brain as the old chip habit was.
Wow. That whole process, especially that experiment with rewards part, it really is like being a detective for your own mind, isn't it? It forces you to question what you think you want.
It really does. And while you're going through this, it's also really helpful to be aware of some common myths about habits that can trip people up.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Well, the big one you hear everywhere, it takes 21 days to form a habit.
Right. Everyone says that. Just push through for 3 weeks.
Yeah, that number is kind of, yeah. Well, it's mostly myth. It comes from a misinterpretation of some observations by a plastic surgeon back in the 60s about how long it took patients to get used to changes.
Seriously. Okay, so what's the reality?
The actual research, like a well-known study from University College London in 2009, found that, on average, it took about 66 days for a new behavior to feel automatic.
66. Okay, that's quite a bit longer than 21.
It is. And more importantly, the range in that study was huge. For some people, it was as quick as 18 days, but for others, it took up to 254 days.
Wow, almost a year for some people.
Yeah. So the real key isn't hitting some magic number of days. It's consistency. Just keep showing up and doing the new routine. Don't get discouraged if it takes longer than you expected. It's different for everyone and every habit.
That's really good to know. Takes the pressure off that 21-day mark. Okay, what's another myth?
The idea that you just need more willpower. Just try harder.
Ah, yes, the willpower argument.
Look, trying to break a deeply ingrained habit purely through willpower, it's like trying to hold back a river with just your hands. It might work for a bit, but it's exhausting. Because willpower is a finite resource. It gets depleted throughout the day as you make decisions, resist temptations, exert self-control. Habits, remember, are designed by the brain to bypass the need for conscious effort and willpower. They run automatically.
So fighting a habit with willpower is fighting the brain's efficiency system.
Exactly. A much, much better strategy is to be smarter about it. Design your environment. Make the good habits easier to do. Put your running shoes by the door. And make the bad habits harder. Don't keep junk food in the house. It's about planning and intelligence, not just gritting your teeth.
Okay, so less try harder, more design smarter. Got it. Any other myths?
One more big one. The idea that you have to completely eliminate the bad habit, just stop it cold turkey.
Isn't that the goal sometimes?
Well, as the golden rule suggests, replacement is usually far more effective than trying for elimination. Your brain really doesn't like a vacuum.
Abhors a vacuum. Right?
Yeah. If you just try to stop doing something, the cue is still there, the craving for the reward is still there. You're just left fighting the urge constantly. It's draining.
But if you substitute...
If you provide a new, ideally healthier routine that still delivers the reward your brain wants, you give that old pathway somewhere else to go. You satisfy the underlying need. That makes the change much more sustainable in the long run.
That makes a lot of sense. Replace, don't just erase. Okay, so we've got the loop, the golden rule, the steps, the myths. Where is all this heading? What's the future look like for understanding and changing habits?
Well, it's definitely evolving, and I think we're seeing a really interesting fusion of psychology and technology starting to happen.
Like with wearables.
Exactly. Think about your Apple Watch, your Oura Ring, devices like that. They're already getting pretty good at tracking things that can be cues, right?
Like stress levels, inactivity, sleep quality.
Right, so they can identify the cue. Now imagine the next step. What if, in the near future, they don't just track the cue, but they actively prompt you with your pre-planned new routine?
Whoa. So, like, my watch buzzes and says, stress detected, try that 5-minute breathing exercise now.
Precisely. It could nudge you into the new routine right when the cue hits. Of course, that raises some interesting questions about how much we want technology intervening.
Yeah.
And we'll also likely see more AI-powered apps offering really personalized coaching. Analyzing your specific data, your cues, what rewards seem to work for you to suggest the most effective routines, hyper-personalized habit plans.
Okay, so technology could become a powerful ally. What about the psychological side? Any shifts there?
Yeah, I think one of the most profound shifts, really popularized by James Clear, is the move towards identity-based habits.
Identity-based, what does that mean?
It means shifting your focus. The goal isn't just to, say, start running. It's to become a runner. Or the goal isn't just to write every day. It's to become a writer. You tie the habit directly to the type of person you want to be.
How does that help?
Because when your habits affirm your desired identity, the motivation changes. It becomes less about forcing yourself and more about acting in alignment with who you see yourself as.
So every time you do the habit,
You're casting a vote, essentially, for the person you want to become. You're reinforcing that identity. It makes the motivation much more intrinsic, much deeper than just wanting the outcome of the habit. It feels less like a chore and more like just being you.
that's a powerful frame shift. Okay, so we started this whole deep dive talking about being on autopilot, right? Just passengers driven by these hidden habits. But we've learned that this system, this powerful drive for efficiency, deep in our brains, it's not some flaw we need to fight. It's actually a feature.
A really clever feature.
Built on that simple, predictable loop.
Yeah.
Cue, routine, reward. Running silently, shaping, over 40% of what we do every day?
Yeah, it's running the show a lot of the time.
But the biggest takeaway, maybe, is that we actually have the manual for this system now. By understanding how it works.
You can step out of the passenger seat.
Exactly. We can become the active pilots. The golden rule of habit change, keeping the cue and reward but swapping the routine, that really gives us the tools to, redraw our own brain maps.
It does. By playing detective, finding those triggers, figuring out the real cravings they signal, we can consciously choose better paths to get those same rewards.
And remembering, it's not about some magic number of days or just gritting our teeth with willpower.
No, it's about being patient, being curious about your own mind, and designing your approach intelligently. Substitution over elimination.
So as you, listening, go about your day after this, maybe just start noticing, start looking for these loops playing out in your own life.
That awareness is the first step.
What's one small habit, maybe, that you'd like to understand better, maybe even change? What do you think is the cue? What's the routine? And what might be the real reward you're getting from it?
Just asking those questions is huge.
It really is, because simply starting to notice, that's the first most critical step on the path. Because in the end, you're not just building habits.
You're building the person you want to become.